In this clip, you'll learn about the history, geography, and climate of the Rhone Valley in France. If you want to know more about this area, make sure to watch our full Southern Rhone episode, link in the description. Okay, here we go.
Welcome to Avignon. Avignon is the official capital of Côtes du Rhône wines. Not only does it make a great home base while exploring the region, it also has its own incredible sights and history worth checking out. The most famous, the Palais de Pape, or Papal Palace, which is the largest Gothic palace in the world. Sometime during the 14th century, Pope Clement V fled political unrest in Rome, and he brought the papal residence here to Avignon. Spanning 7 popes, this was the seat of Western Christianity for several decades before the Pope moved back to Rome in 1377. But to really understand Rhone Valley wine, we need to go a bit further back in time, like way back.
Located in the southeast of France, the Rhone Valley was formed from millions of years of volcanoes and tectonic activity. Over time, the valley was squeezed in between the massive central mountains and the Alps. All this wonderful history over millions of years made dynamic winemaking soils, ranging from clay, limestone, granite, sand, and big rocks called pudding stones. The valley stretches 125 miles from Viognier to Avignon along the Rhone River, which is the lifeblood of the region. It's been used throughout history for irrigation as well as transport. The Romans planted grapes in this area as early as 400 BC, but it wasn't until the 1300s that things really took off. The popes in Avignon that we spoke about earlier wanted wine produced locally in the region, so they helped cultivate vineyard land here.
This is Pont Saint-Benazet, a bridge made in 1185. While only a portion of it remains intact today, it used to be super important. At the time it was built, it was the only bridge where you could cross the Rhone River within 200 miles. This river is part of what makes the region so visually stunning. Small towns line the banks of the water and the hilltops nearby. Luscious lavender and olive trees grace the fields. Medieval castles and Roman history scattered throughout the region. But we're here for the vineyards and wine, and let me tell you, there is a lot of it.
The Rhone Valley vineyards are the second largest AOC in France. And while the region is split into Northern Rhone and Southern Rhone, and home to about 30 different appellations, for this episode, we're only going to talk about Southern Rhone. 95% of the wine from the region comes from here. About 75% of that is red, followed by 15% rosé and 10% white. The climate in Southern Rhone is Mediterranean, and the summers are warm and dry, which means heat-loving grapes like Grenache, Syrah, Marsanne, Roussanne, and Mourvèdre flourish here. The land is mostly flat, which allows the mistral winds that travel through the Rhone Valley to cool down the region. This leads to grapes that can ripen well, but retain freshness and acidity due to the cool nights. But the real star of the region is the Rhone River, which helps vines by regulating temperature, reflecting sunlight onto the grapes, and bringing amazing soils to the area.
While the Rhone Valley may make a ton of wine, don't be fooled. It's incredibly focused on the quality of the wine and taking care of the land. It's one of the oldest wine regions in France. And since the 1980s and 90s, when the wine region really found its popularity, winemakers have worked hard to both preserve the vineyards and wines for future generations. As you're going to see, biodiversity is a huge part of most winemakers' missions here. They do things like employ sheep in the vineyards instead of lawnmowers, encourage insects and animals to help bolster the ecosystem, pursue environmental certifications, reduce and recycle water, and a slew of other measures. All in all, this helps manage the land in a way that both increases the quality of the vines while also preserving them for future use.
To learn more about Southern Rhone, watch the full episode. And don't forget to subscribe.